This is February 13th, 1985. My name is Joe Todd, and this is an interview with Mr. Charles Sells in Laverne, Oklahoma. Mr. Sells, where were you born?
May, Oklahoma.
May.
Ellis County, though.
And when's your birthday?
March 2nd, 1970.
1917. Who's your father?
It was W.E. Sells. William Edward, I guess.
And your mother?
Rosa J.
What was her maiden name?
Lee.
Lee. Where were your folks from?
Ohio. Mother was born in Kentucky, I think.
When they come to Oklahoma?
I think Dad was here about 1907 or 8.
Did his folks come here to Homestead?
His dad was here before he was, and but I think he bought a homestead, really.
Were your folks married when they came here?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of work did your father do?
Farm.
Farm? And where was the place that your grandfather bought?
Oh, about a mile and a half east of May. That was one of them. I think that's where he lived.
Yeah. What kind of house they have on the farm?
Well, his granddad's house was dug in the side of the bank, as I understand it. Well, I've seen the place where it was dug in, and partly dug in, I think, and partly house framed or some kind. I never did see it when it was complete.
Yeah. What kind of house were you raised in?
It was a pretty big 2-story house my father built. All the lumber from Gage, Oklahoma, up there to build it.
Mm-hmm. Was your father in the First World War?
No.
On the farm, what chores did you do as a kid?
And damn thing the farm's got to do. And that's the truth. I had a lot of livestock, chickens, different kinds of livestock. Father was a breeder, horses especially.
What about plowing?
Oh, plowing maybe next.
You like plowing with horses or mules?
Well, I plowed much more with tractors. My father was one of the first ones to get tractors, but I plowed with horses too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd have mixed feelings there. I worked both of them and worked them together. It was always nice to have some mules with a team that you thought was subject to running away or something, because they flat won't try to run. They're too lazy or something. They'll draw back and slow things up.
You said that you'd plow with a horse and a mule?
Yeah, with usually it was 4 head, 2 horses, 2 mules.
Okay. How big was the farm?
Oh, it varied there, but something like 2,200 acres, I think, about the time that I was.
What was the main crop?
Oh, I'd have to be wheat.
Wheat. How many acres of wheat did you have?
Probably 700 or 800. I just really don't know. I
Yeah.
probably sat down and figured it out about what it was.
Yeah. What about wheat harvest?
Well, the first harvest I knew and worked in some was the old header. with horses, and I'd drive the team mainly, and then help unload it on the stacks. And then it would be, and I didn't have to work too much. School was usually going on before the trash, and maybe I'd work Saturday pitching.
How many men on the crew on the header and the header barge?
Well, one man on the header, and most of the time there was just one beside the driver and the barge.
When did you start school?
1923.
Where?
May. I remember it vividly.
Tell me about that day.
Well, I don't remember the first day.
Oh.
I remember when it was one of the wettest years probably on record, I don't know. But we'd have to get off of that old Model T back south there almost a half a mile, or probably a half a mile, and wade through the fields to get to the schoolhouse because the water was too deep between there and the schoolhouse. The river was bank full. That was one of my real vivid memories. Got to school one morning and everybody's always been talking about the rivers, banks caving off and jail that falling into the river, you know. I got there, all the kids come hollering, the bank broke, the bank broke. Well, I thought the river was going to get us by then, you know, but it was the money bank. I can remember that vividly, man. Seeing that water, you know, and everything, I figured, well, he's gone.
What was farming like in the 20s? Was it rough?
No, the main thing I remember is it seemed like there was quite a lot of dust storms, but nothing like the 30s, but every so often there'd be storms more vividly than most things that I can remember. There was some pretty good times, though. I know, because my dad traded cars pretty often. Got a Chrysler in 1927. A nice closed car, you know, that was a lot fancier and lower and more modern looking now than the Dodge sedans and open cars before that. They were. I think he bought one of the first closed cars that they had in the Dodge and traded it for that Chrysler come out about the next year.
Who had the automobile dealer around May dealership?
Well, the one that I can remember was Maury's. It wasn't I forget what kind of a car it was. It was one that's out of production anymore. Sam Morty and his boys run that. I can't think of what that is now.
How would you describe the 30s being worse than the 20s?
How would I describe it?
I mean...
Well, it was a combination of those two things. Right after the big break, that bank that went broke that I was telling you back in 23, Dad lost some money in it. But I believe it was later than this, pretty close to the 30s, or maybe in the early 30s, when it went broke again. And he'd just borrowed a couple $1,000. And then just the next day, I think, when they closed the doors. That was a lot of money to him. And things changed pretty fast when you got a big operation and the cash isn't coming in too good.
Did the father lose anything, or did he keep it all? Did he keep all the farm and the ranch?
Yeah, mainly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just almost lost it.
Tell me about the dust storms and Black Sunday.
I wish I had a picture here. I've got one of the Black Sunday. That was on my bachelorette day. It just rolled up like you'd have thought it was the worst clouded storm you ever saw, just rolling and blowing up like. Made it home in time to my mother and the other kids went to the cellar. I had a new suit on. I knew what I was going to do. I headed up to the closet and took it off. I wasn't going to ruin my suit. I think I know it was $30 is what it cost.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot of money to me.
Where were you when the storm hit?
I was undressing. We just barely got home before the main part of it hit there. And I know we had about as good a house as anybody had at that time, I suppose. And that dust come in. If I wouldn't have known where I was at in the rooms, I'd have never found it. I finally found the lamp, lighted it up, and I swear to goodness, you couldn't see it that far away.
What, 2 feet?
Something like that. It was dark, I mean to tell you. And it had to be the dust in the air, too, that do that, A lot of electricity in it. Cars wouldn't run. A lot of cars just would kill them. They found out after a while, I guess, that you could drag a wire or something, chain or something behind them, help that.
How long did that Black Sunday last? That big storm?
Oh, from the time it hit, in 4 or 5 hours, it was starting to lighten up, I think.
What caused those dust storms?
Wind and bare ground.
What, drought?
Yeah, I suppose the drought keeps you from getting any cover on the ground. It's most of the time, something big growing, and dry weather you cannot do that. You can't grow something a lot of times. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of country that shouldn't have ever been plowed. And especially in the plain country, maybe more volcanic soil.
Mm-hmm.
But sand, about all of it will blow when it gets bad enough. Just about anything you look at.
What stopped the dust storms?
I'd say change of weather had more to do with it than anything. And then, of course, we come along with maybe a little better machinery, but I don't credit that too much.
You do any work for the CCC program?
No.
About the WPA?
Well, we worked for the county some, which was probably WPA or anyhow government subsidized, I think.
What'd you do for them?
Helped build bridges and used the teams to make the fills in where they'd build a new bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And used this creosote lumber. I got my initiation with it, hammering nails in it on the hot summer.
Mm-hmm. Did you go through high school?
Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
1935.
What'd you do from 35 until the war? What'd you do?
Farm, mainly.
What were you doing on Pearl Harbor Day?
I was in Woodward, Oklahoma, just getting ready to go back to Fort Sill.
Going back to Fort Sill?
Mm-hmm.
You were in the...
I was in service.
Okay. When did you join the service?
September 1940.
What, join the regular Army or National Guard?
But it was National Guard being nationalized, you know.
Mm-hmm. What unit were you in?
Battery A, 158th Field Artillery, 45th.
Was that a local unit around Woodward?
Mostly. Yeah, we had a lot of local kids, and then as the draft come on, they got more Oklahoma boys, but then it started split. Got
How many drills did you make before you were called up?
how many what?
You know, monthly drills or weekly drills did you make before you were?
Started immediately.
I started immediately.
Yeah, we went out to CC camps till I got finished there in Woodward, and just wasn't very long, maybe a week at most. And was already in. Went to training the next day, actually, after it was fine.
And from the CC camp you go down to Fort Sill?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of training did you have down there?
Yeah,
Just regular basic training, or?
yeah, I suppose that'd be what you'd call it.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty rough.
How long that lasted, Fort Sill training?
This is where I kind of I should have boned up a little on this. I can't remember how long we stayed there. We spent the winter there. And then the next spring, I guess it was, we went to Camp Barkley. At Fort Sill, we had only tents to live in, and they weren't boarded up or anything either. Used these little Sibley stoves with wood that stand about that high.
What, about 2 feet?
Not more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Cone shape. That was the heat we had. We were in the field probably more than we was up near the campground.
Tell me about the Louisiana Maneuvers.
A lot of dust down there. It was dry. We was looking for sloughs and.
Were you in the Red Army or Blue Army down there?
Blue.
What was the purpose of the Louisiana Maneuvers?
Oh, I guess to get you acquainted with different types of terrain.
How long did they last?
I don't even know that. Probably not much longer than a month.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember.
Who won, the red or blue?
I believe the blue did.
After Louisiana, where'd you go?
We went back to. Oh, wait a minute, Louisiana Maneuvers. We go back. I think we went back to Fort Sill, and then moved. I'm not too sure here. We had another maneuver down there in San Antonio at Camp Bullis. Sometime after that, I'd about forgotten that one. That was tick country, you know. Got some new experiences there.
And Pearl Harbor Day.
Like I say, it was in the evening when we heard about it. I was ready. I had a car, and there's about 5 other boys there that come with me. And I was just in the process of picking them up to get ready when we heard about it.
So you went on back to Fort Sill?
Oh yeah, we went flying. We'd been flying anyhow. There's only one way to go when you got a limited time.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
All things didn't change a whole lot. So we were figuring that probably they would, but maybe just a little rougher on a little more push on the training parts, you know.
Mm-hmm. How long you stay at Fort Sill?
That's what I don't know. but I'd say 6 or 8 months. But I'm just not. I'm not clear on it. I went back to Fort Sale for 3 months after we moved down to. They wanted me to go down to go to motor school.
Motor school for what? What kind of?
Oh, just maintenance and about all facets of the transportation.
What did you do in the artillery? What were your duties?
That was it.
Oh,
Motor.
okay.
Yeah, I did a lot of other things too, but that was supposed to be my job.
From Fort Sill, where'd you go?
Yeah, Camp Barkley.
Camp Barkley.
I
Okay.
went down. Then I come back to Fort Sill and went back to Barkley, and then we.
Did you ever meet General Wainwright at Barkley?
Don't believe so.
From Barkley, you go to Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Fort Devens?
Fort Devens.
Yeah. Okay. What'd you do up there?
Same old thing. A little more different kind of training. I did put a little commando stuff on it. Did run more. Had a lake we'd swim in every morning to have to swim across it. Pretty cold water.
When did you go overseas?
Well, it was about June of 43 again.
And
Because of about 2 years to the day.
excuse me. Anything happen on the trip over?
No, nothing but, like we were talking a while ago about it, the destroyers were running around and occasionally they'd drop some death charges. We didn't know for sure whether there was anything.
And where'd you land?
We landed first at Oran.
What happened there?
Carson Coast. Oh, we unloaded and was there a few days. We unloaded in a minefield, didn't know it. Went through without any problems. Most of it was through before someone told them or something, and they brought the minesweepers out and cleaned it out. There was mine there. Never had any casualties at all. And we went out there in the country and stayed there a few days. I don't remember how long it was. And I think something happened to the German forces there that made it clear that we probably wouldn't stay there very long. And evidently, too, the landing was already in the works undoubtedly for Sicily.
Tell me about the landing in Sicily.
Pretty mean.
What happened?
Real big storm the night before, and still that morning was bad. There's quite a lot of landing craft. We didn't get to the beach right and got on a rocky beach. Broke up. We lost quite a lot of men there. Yeah. And it was a problem getting the landing craft off the ships and stuff. Terrible rough. 20-foot waves and more. Lost a lot of equipment.
Was that at Skoglidi?
How's that?
Was that at Skoglidi, Sicily?
I don't remember what the name of it was. Just called it Sicily, but it's in here. If you'd like.
Did you go in under fire?
Yeah, that was. Well, now most of the fire time I got in wasn't because we had to take trucks in right after
Yeah.
the first wave because we get there after it got daylight. The beach was, I'd say, was pretty
How long did it take to secure the beachhead?
secure. Well, I don't know. We probably got in there by 10 o'clock, something like that. I don't. And as far as I was concerned, it was pretty well secure. There was a few shells falling and one thing and another, but it.
July 10th, 1943.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was on my wife's birthday.
Mm-hmm. And you say the beachhead was secure?
I think so. Pretty well.
Mm-hmm. And tell me about Sicily. What happened there? What did you do?
Well, we put our guns into position and several times in different places, and Farker did all right. Used artillery,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was gotten pretty cheap as far as lives and stuff concerned, I'd say. Uh,
Was there pretty tough resistance with the Germans and Italians?
And Sicily wasn't too much. There was some, you know. And I always thought maybe the Germans might have killed part of the Italians that we saw dead. I don't know. I know that was true when we got on up in Italy.
Did you go up to Palermo?
Yeah.
Were you there when Patton?
I was in the hospital right around the corner when that happened.
Tell me about it.
Well, we didn't think nothing about it at the time. I just figured that the old boy was trying to wake somebody up. It was like you might do a friend even.
Mm-hmm.
We had boys that get wild and try to run, even with shells falling and stuff, you know. And you'd slap him down or something. But he just slapped him, and I really think he thought he was helping him. And I know he didn't hurt him. So, but I'd say that little incident helped extend the war quite a while because I think Patton was the kind of man we needed there.
Mm-hmm.
When they took him out of those tanks and stuff.
Yep.
In fact, I know, I'm just pretty sure in my own mind that it slowed their war effort down quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Why were you in the hospital?
Why?
Yeah.
Hemorrhoid.
Okay.
Too much heavy ammo, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there on 3 days, so. Actually, the fourth day, I was handling ammo again.
Mm-hmm.
Up on Salerno.
Tell me about Italy. Salerno. I heard that was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
What happened?
We made the landing seem not too bad, but they just had a lot more forces there, I guess, maybe than I thought they did. But, it got kind of strung out there, and I know we fired direct fire quite a bit there, but there wasn't any infantry in our sector. Happened a few times. And really thought maybe we was gone. There was tanks across the little old river right there we could look over and see. And we could see them knocking the trees down over there. But we laid the guns on them and just keep firing just as hard as you could, you know, because if they whipped past, it was all I left. It was all it was between the beach and them. Done a lot of shooting.
How many hours did you fire there? What were you doing? Were you handling ammo or what?
Yeah.
What size, what guns were you firing?
105.
105s?
Mm-hmm.
How much did 105 shell weigh?
I don't know, but 3 of them's a load. I've carried 3 of them.
And do you ever, you pretty scared there?
No, I'm not saying this.
Or do you have time to get scared?
Say I'm tough or anything, but I never got scared much. I was more scared after I got home and the dreams I had than I was ever over there for some reason. I really never had that problem. I tried to take care of myself. All that, but as far as being really.
When did you finally secure the beachhead there at Salerno? How long did it take?
I really don't have any idea. I don't now.
And did the Germans finally retreat, or what did they do?
Well, I did. Now that we had a flock of P-38s come in there and just raise Cain with them.
That's
which
what helped you out
a
there,
lot.
B-38.
It seemed like that was the thing that really helped.
Mm-hmm. And how long did you stay at Salerno?
I don't know. I never. It wasn't too long though before we was back and went to Anzio.
Tell me about Anzio. What happened?
Well, there's a little more activity on the beach. Seemed like there's maybe more planes in the air, such as that. But again, I didn't. We come off the beach at about the second day, I think, with that maintenance truck and the kitchen truck. Dick Barnes and I was on those. And there was some stuff going on, all right. But not too bad. And we drove what we thought was off the beach. We couldn't find out where anyone we could find. No one could tell us, Pete or anybody, where our unit was, you know. So we thought we was driving off the beach, and it's dark. We just decided we'd stop and wait till daylight. Pull the old trucks up. And it wasn't long before we got a hell of a slack in there. We hadn't dug any holes, but it didn't take us long to make them. And we was bombed and shelled both.
Where were the Germans?
Where were they?
Yeah.
Well, at that time, they could have been fairly close, because I know we hadn't pushed in much of an area. But the most we ever had there was 9 square miles. All the time we was there. And they had the high ground. They was on those hills. The perimeter all out there. And Anzio was, I don't know, you might know this, but it was the heaviest fortified place probably in the world at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Had more guns and such as that. But and there was more going on there because there's ammunition dumps, and they couldn't hardly shoot without hitting something. So there was just a lot of shooting going on, a lot of stuff burning up, and it was just pretty well about all the time.
Where did you live in Anzio? What?
In Foxholes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you might say that's all we ever had. Not for Italy there. I had that truck come in kind of handy. They issued they brought all the underwear and stuff out, and wasn't going to issue it. Those big old bales, you know, fixed me a sack in there. I figured that was safe as anywhere. Everywhere you dug a hole, water would come up spraying. But that didn't last only a couple of weeks or a week. I don't remember. It got cold.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, there was a set of terraces just in front of her guns. Her guns was down here on the flat. And these terraces, oh, I suppose it was a little higher than this. Had rock built around them.
Yeah, about 3 feet each.
At least 3 feet. And dug a hole back in that. Put the shelter half over it. Got a bunch of the old shell cases that they come in around, don't you know, just like a big piece of pipe. Let the water run through them. Had pretty good bed.
Tell me about the Anzio Express.
Oh, big boy. And it didn't worry us a whole lot. It was just a hell of a big old gun sitting up in the mountain back there that they'd roll out and fire a few of them.
What did that thing sound like when it went off?
Oh, you could hear it. You could hear it when it went over you first, I believe it was. No, you'd hear it shoot, and then it'd pop going across them. Oh, that it actually had enough speed to it to break the sonic barrier. Cause you'd hear that fire back there, and then, but if it was that, I was hearing the sonic boom must have been coming first. I can't remember now, but but there was two pops to it. Of course, one of them wasn't very much of the one.
How big was that shell?
Well, we run into some bigger ones later. It seemed to me like it was something
About a foot and a half in diameter, 2 feet.
No, not over a foot and a half. I don't
Yeah.
think.
That's still a pretty good size for a shell.
Yeah, but
They do much damage with that thing?
too much. Seemed like where they was firing was mainly back toward the beach, and there were some caves there that the engineers and headquarters things was in these caves, you know. And they might have been laying some down. None of those big ones there on that gun ever fell close to us. I'd rather faced it than a 108 or at 88 anytime.
Why?
Well, it just, I'm pretty sure of what it done. It just dropped and make a hole. Where that old 88, they had a lot more control on where they was shooting it.
Yeah.
And they'd shoot.
How long do you at Anzio?
The full time, it was
I mean, how long was the beachhead there?
February, March. I don't know, it seemed like about April when they pushed off there.
About 3 months.
I'm not sure. I got word while I was there that my son was born.
Did you have any trouble with supplies or anything, rations at Anzio?
No.
So what did you do every day? You couldn't fight. What were you doing?
Oh, someone was hauling ammunition or something about all the time, you did. Trucks to service, or hell, maybe a shell come in and knock tires off.
You always firing back at the Germans while they were firing at you?
Oh yeah, yeah. They was most of the time there was some shooting going on. That's one place that I'd say there's never a dull minute. And one night we had, I don't know, they had what we'd call time on target, I guess, and it was a long time. They must have fired about everything that they had out there in guns on our position. And some bombers too. They were just really laying it on. We did the same thing on occasion, you know, pick up an area and do that.
Do much damage to you all?
No, it was pretty hard on trucks and stuff like that. We had 2 or 3 men wounded slightly, nothing about that.
Tell me about the breakout.
Bad.
How did you all break out?
Well, of course, it was nice to be in artillery at that time. Most of it was trying to fire I happened to be on a team that was an observer team. It was a railroad run up across there, and it was pushing off from that, and we wasn't supposed to go with them. We watched them go, and it's pretty hard to see how a man would get across it alive. But they did. So, no, a lot of them killed. But he probably thought maybe that he couldn't live to go through it.
From Anzio, where'd you go?
Well, we finally went back to we went up by Rome. So,
Did you get to Rome?
yeah, got in there one day for a little while.
Yeah. Was Rome damaged by the war?
Not too bad, didn't seem to me like.
Did you get to St. Peter's?
Yeah.
What's that church like?
Oh, that's quite a deal. Big courtyard, walls, and the church was a mosaic. Something else.
Ever get to see the Pope?
No.
From Rome, where'd you go?
Well, we went back, kind of regrouped, and then went back to Naples when we got ready for the France landing.
Were you there when the volcano erupted at Naples? What was that like?
Oh, we didn't bother us much. We was far enough away from it to wasn't much, but we went right by and went to the place where the old Pompeii was. Ashes about that deep there, so had a pretty raunchy society back. Pompeii was there. Had the pictures of how they done it. If she's on this rock ledge over here, is what you're supposed to do it one way and over there another way, and something else.
From Naples, where'd you go?
Southern France.
Do you have any trouble landing there?
Not really. Done pretty easy. Wasn't easy, but it was relatively. Had the guns on these ducks, and they fired them while I was going in. But they didn't stay on the beach long. Got them right out of there.
Did you all establish a beachhead or go on in?
Well, I suppose there was a beachhead that was sort of established, yeah. But our units went on. It seemed like we got in the mountains just real quick. Hills and mountains.
And when did you make contact with the Germans again?
Oh, it wasn't too far up there when started having some sniper problems more than anything. I think it was. I said I never did get scared. One day there we were supposed to, 2 or 3 of us go together and scout for snipers, you know. And there was 3 of us, I guess. And I was going to go one way to go in. There was a clearing there. I was going to go one way, or one of them went the other way. And the boys. I just stepped out in that clearing, and some of these old grouse flew up right beside me. I'll tell you what, that probably scared me more than any real thing.
Southern France, you headed on north?
Right.
Where'd you cross the Siegfried line?
When?
Yeah, when and where?
I don't remember when or where, but I was with the infantry at the time.
Were you in the infantry then?
Dick Barnes and I was
Yeah.
in Earl Hiley from Woodward over here. He was our chief, I think.
How big are those dragon's teeth?
Hell, I don't know. Those spikes,
Yeah.
those concrete
On the
spikes.
Siegfried line.
I don't know. It was pretty big, but I can't
Mhm.
tell you.
Now, are they in France or are they in Germany?
I'd say they're probably in France, or Germany wouldn't let them build them. They were supposed to protect France, I think.
Yeah.
The Germans had them, had control of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether you ever heard of, what was his name? He's got the Medal of Honor. That son of a gun was quite a man.
Was he in 45th?
Acted a little like maybe he's wanting to get killed in a way, but he cleaned out several of those pillboxes that they had up there on that. So
Let me see, I met Jack Treadwell and
Wilkie, see his name? Wilkie.
Okay.
Wilkie. He was something else. Saw him get killed. Nuremberg. There's some snipers shooting down the street there.
Where'd you cross the Rhine?
As far as the town, I don't know. There wasn't any town there where it was, anyhow.
Crossed on pontoons or?
Yeah, I believe it was pontoon. It was later that there was a bridge put across temporary.
Were you in pretty heavy fighting there when you crossed the Rhine, or?
No, not really. It would kind of seem like before we got there, we had some, and then it was kind of clear through there.
I've heard about the hedgerows.
Well, that's in the northern part of Europe there.
Did you ever get into that?
No.
Okay.
They didn't have roads. We had lots of hedges of forests, and I've seen a forest shot clear down in one night.
Did you go into Dachau?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, it was, they was in some of the infantry forces there just ahead of us. And we didn't go very far, but I went far enough to see a bunch of dead people in boxcars and all that. And they had gas furnaces. I don't believe they ever burned a man alive. I think they used that as a sanitation deal more than anything. I think they shipped those people there that were starved and sick and died and burned them in those incinerators.
Had you heard about those camps?
Some.
You think they were existed, or you believe it, or what? You heard about it?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't think we'd heard a lot about it. We knew that it was prison camps at that time, and but as far as Schaffenburg was concerned, I don't know whether it ever had any American prisoners in it or not. I don't know that.
When did you go to Nuremberg?
Oh, on the way up there, not
to Munich?
Yeah. In fact, it was, trying to think. Can't remember now whether it was Nuremberg and then the Schaffenburg. I believe it was. Yeah.
What did you do on VE Day?
VE Day? I don't remember that. But I was in unit. It might have been right after the big bust. Paul Dick and I was on that, riding those tanks up there with the infantry. We saw a little old, well, pretty good sized building, but it was a long railroad, kind of like an old depot or something, you know. And we goes like that, gets into it. It's full of the finest liquors and wines down in the basement down there. And we told the captain, he sent a truck. They loaded it up. All they could get on it, about all that was there, I think. And when we got to Munich, we got settled a little. They found a place to lock the truck up. But we hadn't, quick as we heard we was going to get to go home, champagne bust, you know. Because that'd keep you tight for several days. But I just can't remember on the E-Day.
Mm-hmm.
But it must have been in Munich. Because the battle wasn't quite clear over when we got there.
You weren't there for the Nuremberg trials, were you? When did you get your discharge?
June of 45. Last June, just about.
What'd you do then?
I went to Camp Chaffee and then I went home.
To May?
Yeah. I went to Woodward to get off the bus.
Mm-hmm. Which direction is May from Woodward?
Northwest.
Where were you when the big tornado went through?
I was at my home in Ellis County, just south of May, about 4 miles.
How close did that tornado come to you?
Oh, close enough that I really knew it was happening, but far enough that it didn't hurt anything. Got a lot of fallout off of it.
Mm-hmm. Did you see it?
Not other than the cloud, and I just pretty near knew it was happening.
Did you go down and help in Woodward or anything? Or?
Didn't really find out that anything happened till the next day. We did company that evening, and I don't guess we turned the radio on or anything till probably even that morning. We went over to, my father was staying at my sister and brother-in-law's place while they was gone, and he was on the radio about all the time. We went over there immediately, but she had a brother over there.
Did he make it through?
Yeah, lucky.
What did the town look like?
Oh, it was terrible. Terrible.
Did you help out then when you got there? Or?
Well, they didn't seem to want any help, really. At that time, they was wanting people out of town more than it was if you didn't have a reason to be there.
Mm-hmm. Were you still in the National Guard at that time?
No, I guess not. I guess when I got my discharge, it was over.
Were you called up for Korea?
No.
And so did you go back to farming then?
Yeah.
Been farming ever since?
Pretty much. I went in business down here in Laverne.
What kind of business?
For about 20 years. Automobile.
What, a dealership or?
Yeah. Had farm machinery.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
What was the name of the dealership?
We call it Sells Motor and Tractor.
Well, anything else?
Pretty well covered it.
Any more about your war experiences or anything? Or did you have a hard time adjusting to civilian life after the war?
Oh, I don't guess so. And this is what the thing that I remember the most is something I never had trouble with. We had a lot of thunderstorms right up there, it'd come up at night usually, Those things, I'd wake up and the barrage just sure as hell. I just sound like it, and couldn't hardly. And then I had malaria. And all of me dysentery. I got those bugs. VA couldn't seem to help me any. They said, hell, son, there's nothing wrong with you, you know. I knew there was, and I'd gone to Moreland, and they told me they didn't know what. But old Dr. Tripley called me one day, and he said, Vernon wants to come back over here. He said, we've got a doctor here that's, he's been doctoring in the Orient for quite a while. He's up on things that we never heard of around here. Why don't you come back and let him check you out? I went back over. And I told him that they'd made all these checks and everything. He said, well, one thing I found out, I know about how most hospitals work, government hospitals especially. They might come in here and take a stool sample or a blood sample. This morning, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, it'd be 9 o'clock before the technician ever gets to check it. And he said, I'm going to do this myself. I said, I'll make my own tests here and run them all. It won't take you over too many hours to stick around there and see what we find out. He did that. And give me some medicine, and I had to get some of my wife and kids both to take on that dysentery deal. He said, there ain't no way they haven't gonna carry the bug unless you get rid of it too, so get you all once. And he gave me a full course of quinine treatment for malaria. And that made a different life. Yeah. But you know, when you're sick and somebody tells you there ain't nothing wrong or can't find nothing, you kind of worrisome. You get to wondering about whether be able to make a living or what else.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to thank you.
You too.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Would these do you any good, or?